Spotlight Session Momentum Jharkhand, and like all of you know, the partner state for Infocom Delhi 2019 is Jharkhand. And our spotlight speaker for this particular session is Mr. Sarvesh Singhal, Special Secretary IT and eGovernance, Government of Jharkhand, and CEO JAP IT and Director JSAC. Before I invite him onto the stage, I'd also like to mention that the moderator for this session will be Mr. Shantanu Datta, just like the previous session. He's the resident editor, Jharkhand edition, The Telegraph. I would now like to request Mr. Sarvesh Singhal to kindly come onto the dais and take his seat. And can we have a round of applause for him, please? And a very warm welcome to you, sir. Mr. Sarvesh Singhal is a Special Secretary, Department of IT and eGovernance, Government of Jharkhand. He's the Chief Executive Officer, Jharkhand Agency for Promotion of Information Technology, Ranchi, and he's the Director, Jharkhand Space Application Center, Ranchi. It is my privilege to welcome you, sir, and I will hand over the session to Mr. Shantanu Datta now.
Hello. Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Singhal. Once again, we meet after a year, and I remember, again, the last time you gave us a very elaborate presentation on how things were and on the new projects. Will you please tell us of what kind of major progress you have made in the last 1 year or so, and then we will take the discussions forward. Yes. There are a couple of points which I have, but we'll go to that later, but I think everybody wants to hear from you first.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. And now from Bihar to Jharkhand, it's a sister state and created out of Bihar 19 years ago. We'll be celebrating our 19th birthday in November. Jharkhand, as you know, is known for actually by the name of MS Dhoni. He is a cricketer, previous captain of India, and so Jharkhand is known by the name of Mr. MS Dhoni more rather than anything else. Jharkhand is a state which is having a 33% forest area, and because of this 33 forest, which is a blessing to the state, but at the same time, because of this, we have a poor connectivity in those 33% areas. Those becomes the dark zones of area. But even then, we are trying to cover up those areas through RF, providing connectivity those areas. In the last 1 year, we are trying to attract the investments in the IT sector. For that, we have created 4 STPIs. One STPI was already existing in Ranchi, and additionally, we have gone for the construction of 3 more STPIs in the Jharkhand. Along with that, we have an agreement with IIM Ahmedabad, and we are establishing a Central Innovation Lab, which is also known by the name of Atal Innovation Lab, for promoting the startups. Along with this, we have done a MOU with CDAC in the field of cyber security. We are establishing one Central Forensic Lab at Ranchi, and in the 24 districts, we are establishing regional labs. And to have a hand-holding with the police, the Home Department, we are doing this in collaboration with the Home Department, but the responsibility has been given to the CDAC. These are the 2 main areas where we have already worked, and now we are going for the 3rd area, which is establishment of the IT park. We have 100 acres of prime land in the HEC area, which is the prime location and close by to everything, all the important locations. We are going to establish IT park, that too in the PPP mode. Basically, along with this, we are also having a eSDM facility in Jamshedpur. As you all know, India is dependent for this electronic sector 60% by the import. We are expecting to promote this sector to the $400 billion market by 2022, but right now we are just touching $100 billion. In the eSDM sector, there is a big opportunity for the investment, and for that the government of Jharkhand has provided a whole area dedicated to the eSDM. Along with this, we have also come up along with the policies in which we are providing a lot of financial incentives as well as non-financial incentives to eSDM sector, ITITs, BPOs and startups. So these are the few areas where we have been working in the last 1 year, and we have come across a long way, and in the near future we will be doing a lot, providing facilities to the investors so that they can come up to the Jharkhand and can take up their industries over there. Thank you.
These STPIs that you spoke of, Deoghar, Sindri, Dhanbad and Jamshedpur, what exactly is the status of them? I mean, you know, how much of the work is completed there?
Deoghar has already completed, and except Jamshedpur, other two are 85% work is almost over. And I am expecting in the next couple of months it will be complete. Finishing.
So by the end of the year they would start.
We will have all the four. By the end of the year we will have all the 4 STPs completed.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Okay. And there was also part of it, some of the reports that we had done, that there was also a talk of privately promoted and privately funded STPIs. So you all were thinking of that. Where is it, at what stage is that plan? And what are the locations for those?
Actually, basically first we have thought to complete this 4 STPIs. If we just start those projects also simultaneously, then it will, we may not be able to achieve the target on time. So right now we are focusing on these 4 STPIs. Then for the private sector, so the thought process is like that: if we go and develop this IT park in the 100 acres of land, in that area which will be on PPP mode, in that particular area, this type of idea can come up in a wider way in collaboration with the fund, and it will be on the PPP mode. So basically we are conceptualizing in this way. This will have everything, whatever is required, requested, and there is a market for that basically.
We would also, I'd also like some questions from the floor, please, if anybody, yes, please, sir. One moment, the mic.
Sir, as an STPI, as a government, are you also ensuring, like, see, the most important part for any STPI is to have a talent pool available to feed that STPI. Now, if the talent pool, that is, talent pool will come in terms of there is education facility, there is school, there is hospital, there is housing, there is water, there is electricity, there is sewage, road, and all of that around the STPI, not just inside the STPI. So, I mean, what I heard from you is that you've developed a 100-acre patch with all the kind of the latest facilities. That sounds very beautiful and looks very attractive. But for an investor to walk in, it's the other paraphernalia facilities which will actually bring him in, and the availability of talent pool. That is the local talent. Otherwise, I'm going to have to ship people from Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, Hyderabad, and shift them over there. And that's a huge cost, which nobody would want to do that. So will it really survive in absence of that, or actually the government is developing the entire area around it as well?
If I talk about IT park in Ranchi, it's all, we are also developing around a smart city in 650-acre land, and that will be having all these kind of facility. That is one. And secondly, Ranchi is having all these kind of facilities. Then we talk about Jamshedpur. Jamshedpur is again a very developed area, especially because of the Tata, and all the facilities are there, whether it's a medical facility or education facility, all the facilities are already there. Dhanbad, Deoghar, wherever we are talking, these places are where all these kind of facilities are there, there is no problem as such.
And what about
also,
people?
if I may add, because
manpower?
I keep traveling to, just to add to what Sir said, I keep traveling to Ranchi, and over the last 5 years, I have seen a change in the city a lot. I mean, the city has really changed from small incremental things like proper road signages to better roads that don't get flooded during rains, and the general look of the city, I feel, has changed a lot. That's Ranchi. But yes, your question is also valid for places like Deoghar, then probably Sindri. Sindri, those places will also need to be developed and made much more livable than what they are. And what's happening on the power situation, sir? I know. I mean, a general overview. How bad are things, or is it that you have already got a hold on the problem and power is being taken care of?
There is a project which is undergoing, although it has been delayed by few months, and it will be ready. Means the vision is like that: 24 into 7, 365 days power supply without any interruption. It is underway, and a lot of work is going on. But because of some problems, digging of road and cabling and all, it is underway. And our government's vision is power supply uninterrupted 24 into 7, 365 days. That is there.
That's good to know. Yes, sir, you were saying something else you wanted to add. Is there anything else? No? Is that okay?
Actually, was just asking about the manpower pool also. Like in Jamshedpur, for example, the people are actually already feeding the Tata Steel plant. Now, would they have that kind of manpower available to actually the young generation or the young talent pool to get trained and skill developed and put into an STPI area in the software development area? Is another question. Because otherwise you'll have to get people.
Yeah, you are very right. But if you talk about Jamshedpur itself is having two, one is NIT and then IIT, triple IT Ranchi is also located in Jamshedpur. So then we have Central University of Jharkhand there, and IIM, and then ISM Dhanbad, then BIT Sindri, BIT Mesra. We have pretty good institutions.
See, all of these institutes put together, well, how many students they will have is about maybe 4,000 or 6,000. A company like Cisco in the morning session itself, they said like in a facility like that, at one location they could probably have 11,000 people.
That's true. But question is that the students passing out, are they being absorbed right now? If not, then there is a scope to absorb those students as the requirement will be increasing. I think the seats will be increased accordingly. But right now, if we are going to increase the seats and there is no jobs available accordingly, so that will be
very
lost.
Hopeful perspective, yes.
No, there are very good chances. Number of universities have recently come up also, and as per the requirement, definitely I can assure you it is going to grow, because triple IT has been established only 2 years ago. Lot of possibility of growing. NIT Jamshedpur is also not a very old organization, so seats can be increased, because right now the capacity is 40 seats in each branch. So you can understand it can be increased up to 200 very easily. That's not a problem. It depends on what's the requirement in the market. If we create so many engineers, graduates, and there is no market for them, then that's not a good scenario as such. So we need to create the market first, then we have to increase the seats also. But that's not a problem, I assure you.
And what are the kind of incentives for being in the STPI?
Basically, right now, the STPIs after construction are being handed over to the STPI, Government of India. So they are running as per their norms, one. Secondly, we have 4 policies. In this, there are financial incentives through which we are promoting these kind of things. So a lot of financial incentives. I will have to then show the slide, because I don't remember all the incentives. Number of incentives are there. Number of incentives.
So, in the incentive, see, there is a small question which probably I'll have to elaborate, because one is, if the government is giving a direct cash benefit, it becomes very difficult for a businessman to actually avail it. You know, there's a big loop one has to kind of travel, so it becomes like a disincentive. But you know, way back in 92, 93, government of Maharashtra came out with a very beautiful policy. I just want to share it for the purposes that maybe in case if somebody wants to think about it. They said, okay, we will give you an incentive, but it will not be in terms of cash. So the private investor, it's for the wind power energy. They wanted these plants to come up. They said, okay, how will you give it? They said, we'll give you a exempted sales tax saleable part. So the electricity which they sell to the government is basically, it has a sales tax component. Now the entire sales tax will be exempt. So we'll give you an exemption certificate which you can actually sell to anybody else. So they were in turn selling 10 crores worth of exemption, sales tax exemption to a private guy. So for a businessman, it was like instant cash. I don't have to go to the government and go, you know, from one post to another desk to another desk. And it becomes so simple. So
yeah,
that would be rather
right.
more incentivizing.
Yeah. There are 3 kinds of exemption. One is the exemption, second is the reimbursement, and third is a cash transfer. Right. There are 3 kind of.
The other 2 are very difficult, sir.
I don't say you are not wrong, but it is not impossible. So,
sir, I've been working in government for last more than 35 years. I mean, we've been interacting with all government departments, various positions, various places, various public sector companies, government companies. We've seen that happening for the last 40 years or 50 years. My father's been seeing it. It's impossible.
But the situation has definitely changed from those years. In the last 2-3 years, there is a lot of change in government processing also. And I would say it is much easier if you compare it 10 years ago. Okay. In the last 2 years, there is a lot of changes, and the mindset is we have to give. Previously, the mindset was what are the shortcomings in the process. We used to find out what are the shortcomings in the we have not
shortcomings and what are the loopholes.
Yeah.
How to stop payment.
Right now we try. No, we have to
Sir,
give them.
I'll give you a very interesting example. I was talking to a contractors association.
Sorry? Yeah. Yes?
Oh, offline. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, offline. Okay. Any other questions? I wanted to ask you something about the broadband connectivity plan, the BharatNet, the progress of that project, because that is very crucial, as Mr. Singh was just talking about, that, in panchayat levels and connectivity in the remote areas. And there is also a security question, which you really said that, there are 33% areas which are forested and they are dark zones, which raises other security questions given the context of Jharkhand. So, some idea on how far has this BharatNet?
Previously, as you know, BBNL was working in most of the states, and they were doing in 13 districts in Jharkhand. The progress was like that. They were supposed to complete 4 years, now it is 6 years, and still it is going on. So now we have taken up, we have a constitution on JCNL, Jharkhand Communication Network Limited. Now we have started our new work in the 11 districts. Right now 2800 panchayats have this connectivity, and I think within next 2 years we will be able to deliver a lot, because now the JCNL is working under IT department. It's our own autonomous body, so I think we can deliver in next 2 years. We will be, and all the panchayats will be connected through BharatNet.
Yeah, because connectivity is a problem, because related to that, a lot of issues come up which gives the state a bad name. Things like POS machines, PDS systems, things not working, linkages and all that. And my pet subject, which I love to go and check out, is what is the progress of the Ranchi Wi-Fi situation? Do you have big plans of having Wi-Fi in Ranchi?
In Ranchi, initially it was BSNL. They have taken up this project, and they have installed some access points. But right now, from IT department, government of Jharkhand, we have also initiated city Wi-Fi project, and in this city Wi-Fi project, we have taken up 10 cities, and very soon we will be establishing these access points at important locations in 10 cities. It will be done from the government of Jharkhand.
Will this sort of come up by the end of the year, by this year, or is it even up further?
Not by this year, because July is already over. So maybe by March 2020, yeah.
Yes. Anyone else? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Since Jharkhand and Bihar was one state and it has been split into two, everything is fine at its place. Like I said, everything is there. Anything that is taken up, whether it is STPI or IT industry or anything, why isn't it not time stipulated? Once it is announced, everybody, especially the youth, are with open eyes. Everybody wants a job, but there's no time frame. If I have to take a flight from here to point A to point B, I'm told my flight will take 5 hours. So I know, my mind is set, 5 hours I am there. Over here, why is not every program that is announced, it has to be within stipulated time? Why is this time not mentioned? To say, okay, you have a grace time, it is supposed to be by the end of August. If it doesn't finish, at least September. Especially the people abroad that I am now in my social sector connected with them, nobody understands. And that's why even Modi ji says 59, that he needs things to happen within a time-bound frame. Why is this machinery with the government or private sector, I do not get things done on time? What is that? What is the reason for this?
Again, I would say the same word what Rahul sir has said just. It's, there are some problems which cannot be explained, ek majbooriyan, but it is, I would say, lot of mindset change is there. Definitely, in the government machinery, I would say lot of mindset change. Secondly, I would say, if we talk about so many projects, it involves a number of things, means it cut across so many departments. Suppose if I am talking about laying of optical fiber, so you have to take permissions from the road department or from, if we are passing through someone. I will give you example, we are doing a project of court and jail video conferencing project. In 29 jails, we are connecting the courts and jails for producing the trial, witness trial. So, means at 3 places there is a railway crossing. Can you imagine, we are not getting permission to take over the OFC from there. Even High Court is involved over there. And we have put lot of efforts, and we got permission right now from the one Ramgarh area to take over the OFC. So, whenever this kind of situation is coming, that is one deterrent which derails you from the timeline. Secondly, sometimes it happens, for example, I will give you, there are 2 cities, Ranchi and Jamshedpur, the most important city of Jharkhand. They are constructing road between these 2 cities, but it is not complete from the last 6-7 years. Why? Because of the legal problems. They have gone into the court. Now case is lying in the court. You cannot do. You cannot give it to any other person. Your government cannot take it back until unless the case is decided. This is second problem. Third, sometimes what happens, you know, there is a budget allotment problems, the approvals from the due process and approvals from cabinet and state empowerment committee. So number of process, that is also one deterrent which derails from the time frame what we frame for a project. So these are, but I would say there is a hell lot of mindset change in the government machinery to deliver the project on time. That is there. We are trying our level best. We have improved a lot, and I am sure in the coming future there will be more and more improvement, definitely.
So you are saying the intent is very much there, it is just the implementation which is not happening. Yes, any other questions? Please. Yeah.
So just one clarification, the 4 parks, the 4 software parks which you all have planned, are there any focus areas like you all want, I mean Jharkhand hopes to get, I mean has a market for certain kinds of software, certain kinds of companies? Do you all have any focus areas for these parks? So what sort of companies do you all want to come to Jharkhand?
Means you are talking about.
I think what he means is that if you as a government have any ideas of the kind of companies you would like to come, which would sort of help in the existing ecosystem of Jharkhand. For instance, handicrafts and arts and silk, you know, these are things which Jharkhand is very strong in. So would you have preferences? Is that right? That's some.
Yes, government of Jharkhand is trying to excel in handicrafts, agriculture, minerals and mines sectors, textiles. We are highly focused, dairy farming, fisheries, we are highly focused, and the government is really doing very well in these sectors.
Some more questions? Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Alok Singhal. Sir, as you just said that July is almost over, so today is 11th. I just want to understand that you are saying July is always over, so we'll complete it by March. So is it, you know, don't take me wrong, sir, first of all. So I'm saying it's a government psyche that it's still 19 days left in the month, and we are saying July is almost over. So if I take example of yesterday's match, right? So 19 balls, 38 runs or something. So if we start feeling like that, that it's all over. Means I look at it this way, that 19 days I can achieve. I can do a lot of things. So I just want to understand from you, sir, that, if the person like you is, mentioning this, so people who are looking at you as a leader, so they will also, I think, come out with the same mindset, ki, okay, July is over, now we have to look at August. Just, sir, your view on this, when you said that, what was the, what was your thought behind that, sir? Thank you.
You want to know means why I am expecting this instead of December, it will be means March 30, 20th.
Just said that July is almost over, so I am trying to understand that.
Okay,
19 days left.
Actually, in government, what happens, everyone knows that there is a financial year. Financial year starts from 1st of April. And from 1st of April, the disbursement of funds starts. Disbursement of funds means approval of the project, then allotment of sanction of funds, then allotment of funds, then funds starts flowing. So that means, and then if there is further need of fund, then their supplementary budget is initiated in month of September, may go up to October, November also. So means April, May, June, July, 4 months are already over. Now we are left with 8 months in this financial year. So I am talking as per the financial, because by 31st March, again we have to go for the next year's budget. This year's budget is over. Whatever fund is there, either you have to surrender or it lapses. So we again start working from the 1st of April for the current financial year's projects. So that way I am talking actually. It's not like that if there is any fund balance with me, I can take it over to the next financial year. That's not there. That's why I am just talking in terms of months in relation to the financial year.
So, sir, we are saying that July, which is up after April, it is only 3 months. So, are we saying that the people sitting at your level or at Mr. Singh's level, can't have that much power to, get extra budget or something sanctioned? Is it not possible in the government?
That's possible, but it's some policy changes are required. So
sorry, sir, we have been told after this Modi sir's government that India is changed. So I think we are still there where we were. I think so. We are still not moved ahead. We are still having the same stage. There is no change. I think so.
No, you're absolutely right. I think what this gentleman has said is that this is the core issue of our problem areas where we can't act fast enough and the mindset and things have to change, obviously. I mean, at the level of the secretaries, if funds is an issue, clearances have to be got. That's the whole idea. You're telling people that, it's a single windows clearing system, but then in your own offices, if you can't clear, I think that's a very pertinent point, and I think we'll have to, all of us will have to, the governments will have to cross that bridge to ensure that. Yes, sir. Can we have a mic?
So, just I will clear a small misconception over there. See, we can control obviously things over which we have control, right? So there are many times things over which we have no control. So when I said majburiya, it didn't mean that we are helpless in the sense of bureaucrats being helpless. But there's a sphere of influence and there's a sphere where you actually work. But there's a larger ecosystem out there about accountability, and if you see the last 15-20 years, the way the accountability institutions have worked and they have played out, they have sometimes created an atmosphere where there is risk averseness. This is what I was hinting at, but having said that, I would still say that the things which are under our control, as far as possible, we normally solve that, and when we give a commitment, it's generally about things under our control. When I talk about majburiya, it is in the sense of the outer context. So please don't misunderstand us, and that will always be there. When you are in the government, it is got to be accountable, and so that's not wrong as such, but it's there.
I hope that answers a bit part of your concerns, very valid concerns, yes. I think we have time for one last question, if we could have somebody from the House. Firoz, anything you can think of? Yeah.
I'd actually like to overstep my brief and come to the defense of the state of Jharkhand here. I think the specific context in which Mr. Singhal mentioned that something can be completed by March is we have the monsoons coming in, and you can't be installing Wi-Fi network in a Jharkhand monsoon. So he'll have to wait for the monsoons to be over. And I think the key thing that was probably lost in translation is he's spending public funds. He can't spend it as he wishes. I mean, we work in companies too. If I'm handed over a travel budget for covering the Lok Sabha polls of 1 lakh, I can't spend 5 lakhs. I'll be sacked. So I'm sure Mr. Singhal has the same constraints, but within the government system, what he was trying to explain is you have a budget and then a supplementary budget if suppose you need more money for something. And I think even the target he has put, I think like in Shantanu sir mentioned about giving Ranchi one city Wi-Fi. Even that hasn't happened. There are practical constraints in that. For doing it for 10 cities in Jharkhand would, I think even March is a very early, it's hard to imagine that 10 cities would completely have free Wi-Fi by March. But I wish them all the best. I hope you all can.
Yes. And the very fact that Jharkhand is talking about Wi-Fi in 10 cities is a huge achievement. The fact that it believes it can do it is a huge achievement for.
But I can say means establishing a Wi-Fi in one city or establishing Wi-Fi parallelly in 10 cities doesn't mean timeline will be same, because it's not means someone is installing Wi-Fi in one city cannot parallelly they can do in the other 10 cities
true,
also.
That's true.
So if I can install Wi-Fi in one city in 2 months, in same 2 months, it will be installed in the other 9 cities also. That's not a constraint. That is achievable.
But yes, it's very achievable. But the point is whether we can do it or not. Any case, I think we'll wind up the session. Thank you so much, Mr. Singhal, and hope to see you back again next year, and we shall take some more stock taking. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sarvesh Singhal ji. I would now like to request Mr. Shantanu Datta to present a memento as a token of our gratitude. Thank you very much for your time, sir.